Hey, welcome back. Listen, we're going to stick to a theme here with another blended bourbon right after this. All right, check it out. We have Smooth Ambler, which I have never tried before, and I know I've expressed this before, that when I do get my hands on a unique bourbon that I've never had before, I get a little excited about that. Not saying it's going to be good or bad, I love trying new stuff. But this is a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. It comes in at 92 proof, 46% alcohol by volume. It's got the elephant balancing on looks like a bourbon barrel there. Smooth Ambler, patiently. Well, I guess all whiskeys would be patiently crafted because you have to wait years before they're ready. So, there you have that. But patiently crafted Appellation whiskey. Because then it says expertly blended from whiskeys distilled in West Virginia, Tennessee, and Indiana. Okay, so this is produced and bottled by, not distilled, by Smooth Ambler Spirits Company, Maxwellton, West Virginia, USA. Now, we also reviewed before, and there's mixed reviews on, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It just left my brain right there. But there's another one, California, where they procure their bourbons and they blend them together. I really, really enjoy that bourbon. I wish I could think of the name of it. I'll flash it up on the screen. All right. So, so we'll move along. But I do enjoy some blends, and I know last week we had the Old Elk. Not an entire week ago, but my last video was Old Elk. Now the difference is they distill and blend. This is procured and blended, but hey, I've had some good luck with some of these blends. So let's see what we have here. Oh, and another blend is the Four Roses Small Batch. That is also a blend, but also distilled and blended by Four Roses. So, all right, good cork pop. All right, so as a good guest, I'll pour yours first. We'll give you a little bit here in the glass so you can look down and see that color. Again, if you don't have the VR visors on, you can tilt your phone or scroll with your mouse, but this is full VR180. I can already see it's got pretty decent legs on it just from that pour. But let me go ahead and get some in my glass here for me. About a finger in that snifter. Oh, that's a good tight cork. No alcohol abuse. Waste not, want not. All right. Yeah, really, really good legs. I can see it clinging already. So let's get a little air in it and see what the ring does. And it is good thick beads. It's clinging very well. This is another one, Now, again, last time when I reviewed the bourbon, it's hard to pick out notes on blends for a specific mash bill because they're a blend. It's different bourbons blended together. So one mash bill may have more rye, one may have more barley, one may have, or none of the above, may have all corn. We don't know. And I only go by what I read on the bottle. Again, I don't look these up. I don't look up notes. I don't do any of that prior to doing a review such as this. Really good legs. And I go with what's on the nose and the palate and visually what I can see on the glass. And I'm expecting a good tongue coating with this. Maybe a good finish. Of course, again, this is 46%, so we're at 92 proof, which is, roughly average for a bourbon. Now, there are some weaker ones and some stronger, cask strength barrel proofs. On the nose, I'm not picking up any rye at all, I can tell you that. This is sweet on the nose. Bready, like a little wheat. Good amount of corn probably in these mash bills. Maybe a slight hint of a floral spice note. That would be pretty buried. I wouldn't think any of the whiskeys used in this blend have a very high rye. Yep, and some fruity notes coming out in there. Not picking up a lot of dark depth to it, but again, good legs. Color on it, pretty light. There's no age statements on these, so I don't know how long they set in the barrel. It could have been that some whiskey stayed in the barrel longer than the other. So it could be a mixed age, or they could have blended and then aged a little longer. It doesn't say. Yep. Not a lot of deep wood notes coming out, but let's go ahead and get that first sip out of the way. Like I said, I don't like to give too many notes off that first sip, but let's get it out of the way. Warm it up just a little. It's very, very gentle. A very gentle bourbon. A little spice on the tongue. A little maybe a little cinnamon allspice, just barely across the middle of the tongue. It did coat fairly well, but again, don't like to give a lot of notes on that one. Not a lot of singe either. It's very, very gentle bourbon. I went on ahead and took a pretty good swig on that one because it definitely drinks below its alcohol content, even at 46. I would have guessed if I had been sipping on this, I probably would have said 38 to 40 proof, when in fact it's 46. So there you go. But I would have pegged it more around the 40. And not 46. Sweet. A little of that honeysuckle coming through, similar to something like an Elijah Craig or something like that, but it has more depth than Elijah Craig does. Very, very tasty. I would say if you watch the video of me and my son, we did a live stream that I downloaded, edited, and posted back up. But we were actually connected. He was in Kansas City and I'm here in North Carolina. And it was his first time nosing whiskey from a Glencairn snifter and trying to dissect it. And I had recommended Elijah Craig because it too is a very sweet, gentle, it's a softer whiskey, very what people call smooth. It kind of rolls all that into one. Not a lot of tongue singe on it, things like that, but it has a decent finish. This one, I think, has a longer finish than Elijah Craig. And the alcohol on the palate doesn't come through, but I am getting a little warmth, not a lot. I mean, I like the cask strength barrel proofs, so I like that tickle. But this is not coming through that strong. And I'm not getting a lot of dark notes on the finish. I'm getting some notes there, but where this is staying pretty caramel. It's not going into dark caramel. It's not going into molasses. It's staying on the upper end of the sweet scale. A little tiny hints of a conical, piney note in there. So somewhere hidden in one of these mash bills is a hint of rye somewhere. But I'm also getting a nutty note off this. So it could be that there was some toasted barley used in one of the mash bills. But a lot of this is primarily corn and probably wheat in the mash. And even the ones where I'm saying there might have been a little bit of rye, it was probably like corn, wheat, rye, or something like that. but just a little bit, and only in one of the whiskeys used in the blend, which dilutes it even more. So, really, really tasty though. Reminds me a little of like an infinity bottle type thing, where you keep mixing bourbons together that you're about to finish the bottle off, and after a while, it's very difficult. I mean, you get a lot of complexity, but it's very difficult to dissect individual notes out of it. But very good whiskey, very good bourbon. Wow, that's easy to drink. Really easy to drink. And we know to be called a bourbon, and I would assume, now I'm assuming, in order to be called a bourbon and be blended, it would have to be blended from all bourbons, which are 51% or more corn, aged in new American oak barrels for a minimum of 2 years, and typically it's going to be over 4 years. It can be 100% corn, but it has to be at least 51%. But typically will contain things like wheat, barley, and rye in the mash, taking up the rest of that, whatever corn doesn't take up above 50% or 51%. So, like a general type bourbon may have 60% corn, 25% wheat, and maybe some barley and rye in there too. And then high ryes are going to have, possibly even 55% corn and 45% rye or something like that. That would be considered a rye bourbon. And then, of course, there's rye whiskeys, which is, a lot of them are 100% rye, all the way through. But no, this is a very easy sipping whiskey. I'm happy with the purchase. It was not a high dollar bourbon. I know because the Old Elk, when I bought the 3 bottles, was the most expensive at around 50-ish, 55. These were sub 30, I believe. And I say these, I mean this one and the Yellowstone. Maybe around sub 40, maybe around $36, $38 a bottle. I would buy this again. Absolutely, I would buy it again. Because it's just a really, really good bourbon. And a really good whiskey in general. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. As always, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell down there for notifications, and I promise I'll keep bringing you these videos.